Welcome back to OJHL Tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lindsey Harren, and back with us on the show is Marty Savoy, the longtime commissioner with the OJHL, back for a once-around update. So Marty, so great to have you back on the program. Thanks for your ongoing support.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Well, there's lots to chat about. Let's start about kind of expansion teams right now, but first let's go to Buffalo as they're back for the first time in the league since the start of the pandemic. So how has Buffalo been going these days?
It's outstanding. They're a key partners of ours in the league, being the only franchise in the U.S. And obviously they host our Governor's Showcase down there annually. It gets 200 to 300 scouts that were back in there. But just their organization is first class from Larry Playfair all the way down, whether it's Sean Wallace this year or Michael Pekka that comes in. They're always a key franchise for us. And I don't think people realize the reason they didn't come back earlier is that they wanted to make sure that they didn't come back and then halfway through the year due to border issues shut down. And then all of a sudden 20-something kids have no place to play. So they're one of the teams that always put kids first, but it's awesome finally having them back in the league.
What is it like getting that team back, especially from a scheduling perspective? Because they were kind of really shut down for a number of years, and there was a point where we weren't sure kind of who was on the coaching staff there for a while.
Yeah, it's tough if you can imagine that their partnership with the Buffalo Sabres, the big club as well, and funding and whatnot, and who's going to run it. So it got to a point where they were unsure who could coach, where their players would come from, could they cross borders, all the type of logistics. So that's one of the reasons they want to put the players first to make sure that saying, hey, what we don't want to do is build a schedule with the OJHL and then all of a sudden halfway through the schedule say we can't play anymore, because it kind of jeopardizes the integrities of the rest of the schedule when they do it. So once again, Buffalo made the decision what's best for the league over what's best for the team.
Speaking of the league, exciting times. We've got a couple of expansion teams. So walk us through kind of who's joining us right now.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a long process here. We've had two teams join the league. The first team was the Leamington Flyers. A couple of years ago, they got approval from the league to come through, and then we needed the OHA and OHF approval to bring them in. It's an exciting group down there, led by Jason Mello and Justin Schultz, who runs the hockey side of it. We were there for the home opener. There's about 1,000 fans in the stands. And the fun thing is they are the Sutherland Cup champs, leaving the GOJHL, who are good partners of ours, coming into the league. So as we had fans welcoming us, thanking us as we dropped the puck to come down there, they put a pretty good team up. And then the second team is the Niagara Falls Canucks, under the leadership of Frank Pietrangelo out there in Niagara Falls. And those were two key areas that when we did the expansion. We want to get into southwestern Ontario a little bit because we knew there was a great market there for junior A. And then the other one was the Niagara region because it's such a strong, not only hockey market, but a junior hockey market as well. So we were fortunate those two teams came forward to go through the process. And when they were selected, I think just seeing the home openers and the teams that they're putting together, they're great franchises and great additions to the league.
What is the process in an expansion situation? Did you have a number of other communities apply for this kind of section?
Yeah, originally in the first thing, I think we had 12 original applications come in, and a number of go through a screening process to make it through to the final selection process that we have to do. It was kind of like an RFP type of a situation. They had to submit in there. There was about 15, 16-page questionnaire they had to go through from ownership structure, finances, the community engagement they do, past history of experience within the communities, which is important, their minor hockey support. So there's a lot of different variations that we had to look at to make sure they would qualify. Then we brought it through an expansion committee that we struck to make sure that we had owners and different people make sure that we vetted them properly. So from there, then it had to go to our Board of Governors for approval, which they approved, and then the Ontario Hockey Association and the OHF were the final step. So it was a bit of a process finding the two, but I'm very confident we found the two that we wanted.
So how long from start to finish, Marty, as to when this process started and when the puck drops?
Well, with Leamington, I believe it was almost 2.5, 3 years that it took us to kind of get it through. Some of that was through COVID. And then the Niagara Falls was a little bit quicker, so it's about a year that it took us to kind of get through from start to finish because we've already done the process from one. It was labor intensive. The amount of work that the two clubs put in, the packages alone were outstanding. There are two venues that we believe we can host events in. So I'm not saying we've committed to host events there yet, but it was a bit of a process that they undertook themselves that had to put a lot of calories into it.
Now, Leamington's a long bus trip, either from Trenton or Wellington. What's the reaction been like across the league with Leamington and Niagara joining in?
So the way we do it is the crossover from conference to conference is you play half the conference one year and the other half comes to you, so you don't have to go there every year. I think the bus trips, when I'm talking to some of the players and the coaches, they quite enjoy them. We don't have a ton of bus trips within the league. That's one thing we're proud of, is that you're always back in your home bed, be able to get back to school the next day. You don't miss much school when you're coming. You remember, a lot of these kids are student athletes that we have. They're enjoying the bus rides out there. When they get to the building, it's a gorgeous facility. There's lots of fans. The environment, the show that they put on, it's a fun environment to play in. So most of the teams that we have talked to have really enjoyed going down there.
Well, it's great to have you on for an update. Once again, Marty Savoy, the OJHL Commissioner. Thanks so much and take care.
Thank you for having me.